This week, a simple little recycling project to help you move a canoe or a kayak.
Hey, what's up, my fellow project junkies? Hey, on this episode, we're going to solve a little woodworking problem, although the solution is going to wind up being more engineering than woodworking.
So I'm looking for a way to help us transport our monster 16-foot canoe from the vehicle to the water without scratching up the bottom and without having to buy any other specialty vehicle to do it.
We're going to try to do that by repurposing an old golf pull cart.
Just do it!
So here's the victim. You know, you can find these golf carts at garage sales for just a few bucks. This one I've had for more than 10 years, and now after a couple of knee replacements, I just assume ride around in a cart. So rather than throw this away or donate it, I think we can use the pieces and parts and solve our problem. So stick with us, it should be a fun project.
We're gonna do it. So initially I thought I might have to cut off this front wheel, but as it turns out, it pops right off.
Lucky.
I also wanted to take this front handle off. It didn't really serve any purpose, but I'm gonna wind up using that center hole that connected both sides of the handle for another purpose. These small bungee cords also needed to come off because originally they just held the golf bag in place. Now with the bungee cords removed, I think I'm going to repurpose these two brackets, and this is the part of the project where I think we're going to be able to introduce some wood into the construction.
Wood, good.
Well, the challenge that I have is that these brackets don't let the wood sit deep enough for me to put the bolt back through. And I also need the wood to be about 1.5 inches thick. Now, one of the other things I want to keep in place is this locking mechanism, because it allows for the whole cart to collapse down and compress into a smaller footprint to fit inside the canoe. But I need a way to pull it together, and by removing that big handle, I thought using some threaded rod and some oak dowel material will give me some handle area to grab it, pull it together, and lock it in place. So this is a great opportunity to reach into your scrap bin and pull out some wood that might fit, but I also needed to file it down here so that the bracket would actually fit in place and leave room for the bolt to go through.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Mr. Hart and Mr. Cube. And so with this design, we'll reach into the scrap bin and we'll pull out some wood pieces that are thick enough to work with. And I also had some of that oak dowel material, 1 inch in diameter, and those will make great additions for the two handle pieces that we're manufacturing. So after a little sanding and cleanup, we'll get things prototyped. Now originally I added this wood tab to fit behind the deck on the underside of the canoe to carry it bottom side up. That way I could pull it right up to the back of the SUV and load it on top of the carrier. But it was pretty unstable and top heavy, and the whole thing wanted to flip over when I was prototyping this. So I wound up removing that piece to make it a flat bottom carrier. Now here's a trick. By taking 2 of these wooden hand screw clamps and setting them 90 degrees to each other, they'll actually hold this wooden dowel straight up or 90 degrees to the table. And it allows you to drill straight down into the dowel once it's centered. And there we go. 2 of these to go on both sides of the threaded rod. And we'll get this threaded rod cut and then ground down so that it's smooth and ready to install. And with some Gorilla Glue, it'll wind up expanding on the threads and holding this handle in place. Didn't really need a clamp, but it'll just hold it together. And now we're almost ready. And with some 1-inch pipe insulation and some zip ties, we can get the padding custom fit and locked in place, and it'll really protect the bottom of the canoe.
Great job.
Aw, thanks, man. And I really like how compact this cart sits. And it makes it easy with these new handles here to lock it into place. So you can see that it fits right on the stem or the stern of the canoe pretty easily, or even in the middle. And with the pull handle, makes it easy to lock and then get it in place under the canoe. And I found, because it's a little tippy until you get the canoe balanced on it, to put it on the leading edge first and then to pull up the front piece. And now it'll sit there on its own. And I also bought these 48-inch bungee cords, which turned out to be the perfect length for wrapping around the canoe and attaching to the aluminum brackets on this cart. So no other special apparatus here, just the bungee cords wrapped around and attached to the frame. Now, of course, this is a big canoe. This is a 16-foot canoe, but you could use this same carrier for really any size canoe or kayak to help you transport it from the water back to your vehicle. And also, you could use just about any type of old golf pull cart. Even those old aluminum frame versions would work pretty well. You'll just have to modify them to accept these cross brackets. It's got a wide enough stance so that when you pull it, and even on my bumpy back grass here, as I come up from my stream in the back of the property up the hill, it balanced pretty well and it was very stable.
Do you like sushi?
Well, Jean-Claude, I definitely appreciate your enthusiasm. And I guess if we had gone fishing, we might have something to cut up, but for now we'll just have to be satisfied with the fact that this carrier is going to really help us get this canoe to and from the water with ease.